Straight to a Fox News alert. An Air India plane with 244 people on board bound for London Gatwick Airport crashing shortly after takeoff into a residential area in India. A huge plume of thick black smoke you can see filling the sky.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this for the first time, too. The aircraft is a Boeing 787 and received the last signal just seconds after takeoff at 625 feet. According to flight radar, that is, India's aviation ministry also says the nation is on the highest alert and rescue teams have been mobilized.
So this is what we know. All flights are currently suspended at that airport in India until further notice. There is no word on any casualties yet, and the airline says that they will share more details when they are available. Britain is working with Indian authorities to urgently establish the facts.
Yeah, and it looks so another issue will be where it crashed, in a residential neighborhood. And that's, you wonder what's happening, people in their homes. Almost like Lockerbie, there were people that were hurt as the plane exploded in midair.
All right, let's bring in Mike Boyd. He's an aviation consultant. Mike, thanks for getting up this morning. I know this just happened. You probably don't know more than what we just talked about. But have you heard about any fatalities? And what do you think went wrong? Another problem for Boeing?
Well, it is. It's the first 787 fatal crash in history. That's going to make Boeing not too happy. But just looking at the pictures that are there, and you got as much as I do, it looks like the airplane took off, lost power, and went down. There are other videos coming out, and it's confused, where they show survivors. So maybe there's good news here. But the real issue now is what caused this airplane to go down, and everything is speculation. Well, the only thing we know for sure is it did go down. And the question is, what is Boeing going to be doing? Believe me, they'll be all over, because up till now, this airplane has had a spotless safety record.
So, Mike, for what we know on most of the crashes that happen, we later found out that most of them happen because of human error. I know you don't know a lot about this crash. We're still learning this. It's a very fluid situation. But what is the first thing that comes to mind now when you see a crash like this that could have happened?
Well, when we see the video of an airplane obviously on takeoff and then slowly going down, the first thing, they lost power, obviously, somehow. So the first thing that comes up is, you mentioned human error. Everything is human error. These things are made by the hand of man. So something must have happened like that. And we don't know, but we'll know going forward. The real issue is Boeing will be all over this. The NTSB will be all over it. The Indian authorities will be all over it. Because up till now, again, it's been an incredibly safe airplane. So they'll be looking at the human factors as well.
Right. You got to worry about people on the ground as well as the people on the jet. The Indian Air Force and Army are engaged in rescue operations. That's what you're seeing on the left side of your screen. Mike, I'd like to bring you to something facts we do know. We always say 30,000 feet is where a jet wants to go. This jet got as high as 625 feet. And according to eyewitnesses, if they pan out to be correct, it ended up going immediately vertically right into the ground. If you can visualize in your mind taking off, getting to 625, and then going straight down to the ground, is that intentional? Is that one of the things that pops to your mind?
It could be. The one video I saw, we're all well informed here, but the one video I saw simply showed the airplane sort of gradually going down and then out of sight. So it might have nosed down after that. But, the first thing you think of, it lost power somehow. But again, that's all speculation right now. And again, it's likely something to do mechanically with the airplane. Any other thing could be in there,
right.
But
can I ask you, Mike, if it did lose power, wouldn't it glide?
Well, yeah, but they're not going very fast to start with, and it did glide. It glided at a point of impact.
So, Mike, for pilots, do they try to, I would imagine they would try to avoid, if they are crashing, into buildings, into residential areas where other people on the ground could be affected. Does a pilot have any control over that?
Probably not in India, probably not at this airport, which is an airport tightly surrounded by population. Wherever he was going to go down, people were going to be there probably in this city.
Mike, forgive my ignorance, but what could cause a plane to lose power so fast after takeoff?
Probably about 1,000 different things.
Really? Okay.
Contaminated fuel, lack of fuel, a mechanical problem that caused one engine or two engines to lose power. There are 1,000 things that could cause that to happen. So it's really speculative right now, but it's not a simple issue. It could be a combination of things that happen and cause the chain reaction. But we'll
So
know before long. But again, we don't have much
yeah,
time to talk about it. It wasn't in the air very long.
787 Dreamliner. It's a Boeing plane. Now, when you buy a Boeing plane, whether you're Delta, United, Air France, when does it become the responsibility? When do these different airlines put their stamp on that plane? So I'm Boeing and I sell it to you, but it's up to Air India to maintain it, number one, and maybe some different countries or different airlines decide to put their own emblem, their own rules and regulations to it. Correct?
Yeah, that's true, but they're all approved. And the Indian air transportation system is a Wild West marketing wise, but in terms of safety, that's always been there. But the airline's imprint on that airplane is basically when they order the thing, because they're working with Boeing on how to spec it out. So Air India has been with this airplane probably since they signed the order document. So from that perspective, I don't think we have to look at maybe India being sloppy. As a matter of fact, India is not sloppy.
So, Mike, what happens next in the investigation?
Well, right now, what's going to be happening is a lot of talk like this, what happened? But under the scenes, I'm pretty sure the U.S. NTSB will get involved. Those people are magicians, can find out all kinds of things. And let's remember, it wasn't in the air very long. They say there was a Mayday call, which I would find surprising on takeoff like that, but maybe there was. And you got cockpit voice recorders, and you've got other recorded documents or machinery inside that airplane. We're going to know fairly soon, but they're not going to announce it to you and I until they're really sure about it. But I'm confident the NTSB is on an airplane right now heading there.
Mike, can you explain when you just said that there's some reports of there was a Mayday call, and you said you would find that strange. Why would you find that strange?
Because at that point in time, takeoff, the airplane, the pilots have their hands full of airplane on any takeoff like that. And, to make a Mayday call, it's possible, no question about it. But, they were probably busy with a whole lot of other things trying to figure out what is wrong with this airplane. Speculation only, but we'll see what happens. But, boy, if you're in India and you take off and you go down, again, someone is going to be on the ground in front of you.
So this is my worry being ever since 9/11. If you want to find out if this was terrorism, I don't care if it's 10% or 90%, that's where we need global communication, right? Because a lot of times, if these are plans and plots, we need to be aware of what's happening. And we know famously what went down with Flight 93 and how they got a tip off what would happen with Flight 11 and other things. So can you give us an idea where the communication lies with other countries, other towers, other airports?
Mike, do we have you?
Yeah.
Sounds like he froze.
Probably lost it.
I'm wondering how old these planes are. When we get on a plane, how old are they? Are they decades old? And how often do they have to go in maintenance, where they take all the parts out and rebuild the plane, essentially?
My next question that I was going to ask Mike was, I know, and we hear this when we're always on a plane, you hear them doing the safety checks, going through. What are they looking for when it comes to power or anything like that? But it sounds like from Mike that it could be 1,000 different issues, even if it's just power alone. So we're still getting information this morning. We're working our sources to try to see. These pictures on the ground are extremely vivid as we look at this situation.
All right, so it crashed near the airport in India. It had just taken off. Brian said it was at 625 feet. And, you can start using the internet when you're in the air at 10,000, then the goal is 30,000. So it was taking off and then heading to the UK. We're not sure about who was on board, if most of those passengers were from India, and if there were any fatalities. But you heard our guest say that he was watching some video, and it looks like there were some survivors. Yeah,
1:10 in the afternoon, their time, 3:40 in the morning Eastern time. So we'll stay on top of this with 242 people aboard, and then you wonder how many people going to work or in their apartment building were shocked to hear the noise. But you would think in the afternoon there'll be less people in dwellings. But we'll find out. I mean, we got the story on the ground and the story in the air and the story with the plane.
That building right there, it looks like it was under construction, or does it just look like that because it caught on fire?
Yeah, we just found out no Americans aboard the plane.
Oh, good news.
We're going to be following it all morning long as we get more information. But meanwhile,